Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into a critical topic that affects us all, the biggest problems with the teaching system. Yeah, we all had to go through it. Some of us loved it, some of us hated it, but whatever our individual experiences, we can probably all agree that the education system has some flaws. And I'm not just talking about the lack of delicious cafeteria food, although that too is a very serious issue. We're talking about systemic problems that impact students' ability to learn and teachers' ability to, well, teach. Because here's the thing about education, it's not just about memorizing facts or passing tests. It's about fostering a love of learning, nurturing critical thinking skills, and preparing students for a future that we can't even fully imagine yet. So let's roll up our sleeves, grab our thinking caps, metaphorically of course, and delve into the biggest issues plaguing education today. And don't worry, this isn't just a gloom and doom session. We'll also touch upon potential solutions because, as always, I want to leave you with a sense of hope and a desire to make things better. Okay, picture this. You're a teacher standing in front of a classroom. Sounds pretty normal, right? Now imagine that classroom is packed. Not just a few empty desks, but wall-to-wall students. It's loud, it's chaotic, and you're just one person trying to manage it all while also trying to, teach. This, my friends, is the reality of overcrowded classrooms, and it's a problem that's becoming increasingly common, especially in underfunded schools. See, larger class sizes mean less individual attention for each student. It's like trying to have a meaningful conversation at a rock concert, nearly impossible. Students in overcrowded classrooms might not get their questions answered, might not get the support they need, and might just get lost in the shuffle. And that's not fair to them. It's not fair to the teachers who are burning the candle at both ends trying to keep up. Imagine trying to grade hundreds of papers every night, on top of lesson planning, on top of actually teaching, on top of trying to have some semblance of a personal life. It's exhausting. And when teachers are exhausted and overwhelmed, it impacts the quality of education they can provide. It's a vicious cycle, but here's the thing. Smaller class sizes have been shown to improve student performance. Studies have shown that students in smaller classes tend to score higher on standardized tests, have better attendance records, and are more engaged in learning. So why are classrooms so overcrowded? Well, it often boils down to funding. Schools need more resources to hire more teachers, which would allow for smaller class sizes. It might seem like a simple equation, but trust me, it's a lot more complicated than that. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't strive for it, because every student deserves a quality education and every teacher deserves to feel supported in their incredibly important job. All right, let's talk about textbooks. I know, riveting stuff, right? But stay with me because textbooks are often a window into a bigger issue, outdated curriculums. Think back to your own education. Did you learn about coding, about climate change, about the vast diversity of human experiences throughout history? If you're anything like me, the answer to at least one of those questions is probably a resounding no. And that's a problem. The world is changing rapidly and our education system needs to keep up. We're living in a digital age, yet many schools still rely on textbooks that are older than some of their students. We're facing global challenges like climate change and social injustice, yet these topics are often relegated to side notes in outdated curriculums. This isn't just about keeping up with the times, it's about equipping students with the knowledge and skills they need to succeed in the 21st century. It's about fostering critical thinking, problem solving, and a deep understanding of the complex world around us. We need to move away from rote memorization and towards a more dynamic, engaging, and relevant curriculum. A curriculum that reflects the world as it is, not as it was decades ago. Now, updating a curriculum is no small feat. It requires time, resources, and a whole lot of collaboration between educators, policymakers, and experts in various fields. But it's a necessary endeavor. Our students deserve nothing less. Chapter 3. Standardized testing, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Standardized testing, the source of much anxiety, stress, and probably a few tears from both students and teachers, let's be honest. Now, I'm not here to demonize standardized tests entirely. They do serve a purpose. In theory, they provide a standardized measure of student achievement, which can help identify areas where students might need additional support. They can also help hold schools accountable for providing a quality education, but And you knew there was a but coming, right? The problem is that standardized tests have become so high stakes that they've started to distort the entire education system. Instead of focusing on fostering a love of learning, we're teaching to the test. Instead of valuing creativity and critical thinking, we're prioritizing rote memorization and test-taking strategies. And that's not what education should be about. The pressure to perform well on these tests can be overwhelming for students, leading to anxiety, stress, and a sense of self-worth being tied to a single score. And let's not forget about the teachers, who are also under immense pressure to ensure their students perform well. This pressure can lead to a narrowing of the curriculum, as teachers focus on teaching to the test rather than exploring broader topics. It's time to rethink our reliance on standardized testing and find more holistic and meaningful ways to assess student learning. Chapter 4, the resource gap, when schools can't keep up. Let's talk about something that's often overlooked when we discuss education resources. And I'm not just talking about textbooks, although those are important too. I'm talking about everything from basic supplies like pencils and paper to technology, libraries, and even qualified teachers. The reality is that schools are not created equal. Some schools have access to an abundance of resources, while others struggle to provide even the most basic necessities. This disparity in resources creates an uneven playing field, where students in underfunded schools are at a significant disadvantage. Imagine trying to learn in a classroom that's too hot in the summer and too cold in the winter, where the textbooks are falling apart, and where there aren't enough computers for every student. It's hard enough to focus on learning when you're hungry or tired. Now add in inadequate resources and it becomes an uphill battle. This lack of resources disproportionately affects students from low-income backgrounds, exacerbating existing inequalities in our education system. We need to invest in our schools and ensure that all students, regardless of their zip code or socio-economic background, have access to the resources they need to succeed. Chapter 5, Teacher Burnout, a crisis in the making. We've talked a lot about the challenges facing students, but let's not forget about the incredible individuals who dedicate their lives to teaching teachers. Teaching is a demanding profession, requiring endless patience, creativity, and a deep love of learning. But in recent years, teachers have been asked to do more with less. Larger class sizes, inadequate resources, and increasing pressure to meet standardized testing benchmarks have taken a toll. The result, a growing crisis of teacher burnout. Teacher burnout is a state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by prolonged exposure to overwhelming job stresses. It's characterized by feelings of cynicism, detachment, and a lack of accomplishment. And it's not just bad for teachers, it's bad for students too. When teachers are burned out, they're less likely to be engaged in the classroom, less likely to be creative in their teaching methods, and less likely to provide the individual attention that students need. We need to support our teachers. We need to reduce their workload, provide them with the resources they need, and create a culture of respect and appreciation for the vital role they play in shaping young minds. Outro. So what can we do? Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content on education and beyond. We've covered a lot of ground, from overcrowded classrooms to outdated curriculums to the very real crisis of teacher burnout. It can feel overwhelming, but it's important to remember that these problems are not insurmountable. There are solutions. We need to invest in our schools, support our teachers, and advocate for policies that prioritize the well-being and education of all students. Because education is not just about memorizing facts or passing tests. It's about empowering individuals, strengthening communities, and building a brighter future for generations to come. That's something worth fighting for, don't you think?